Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Masks Off. I'm Kim,
And I'm Tia.
and we're just super excited to be recording. This is a completely impromptu recording sesh where it's not even our normal day nor our normal time. So we'll just say if you're watching on YouTube, my background is very orange because it's evening time, and Tia thinks hers is green because the leaves are in. So we got green and orange backgrounds. So it is what
Playing
it
with
is.
form.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And the cat wants to join.
And the cat's joining. So this is Masks Off, where we show up 100% imperfectly, and it is what it is.
It is.
So anyway, as always, though, we will start with our quote. So our quote for today is peace. It doesn't mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. Unknown author.
I love that quote.
Yeah. So, if you're a regular listener or viewer, you'll know that I have been sharing at length lately the space that I've been in with the number of, what did we call that one episode where the balls were being thrown at us or something along those lines? I think that was not long ago. It just means
it was recent, but it's past my normal thinking time. So
no worries. No worries. Basically, the storms or the waves, if we're talking about the ocean, hurricane force waves, just a lot of external factors going on. And I was just for a long time just really struggling with all of it, in a bad headspace. And then it was like, woof, click. I called Tia. I'm like, Tia, we need to record. We need to record. So the download that I received on this is that why I was suffering so much and struggling so much is not necessarily the external events. Although difficult, they are hard and difficult, but I was in resistance to them. I was trying to control them, fix them, make the outcome of those events go the way I wanted to.
Right.
And so we did an episode way back in the beginning on first arrow, second arrow, when the first arrow is just, these are some challenging events going on in my life. And many of you, I'm sure, have challenging events going on in your life. That's just life, right? Doesn't matter. But the second arrow was when I was in resistance to the as is of those events and created more suffering for myself. So when I was able to move into a place of accepting, and we'll talk in a minute about what acceptance means, because it doesn't mean I lay down like a doormat and just, be passive.
Right.
So you can share on that if you want to, what that means in a minute. But when I moved into a place of acceptance, all of a sudden, it was like the fog lifted, right? And I felt so much space and expansiveness because now I'm just allowing. I'm working with the universe instead of against the universe, and saying, like, having a 2-year-old tantrum of, no, I want it my way. I want it my way. Why are these people not cooperating with me?
Why are they making my life so difficult?
Exactly. Fall into line. So then I was like, okay, then I move into, what are my choices? I can accept, I can leave, and just doing that makes such a difference.
Well, and even like your energy is lighter, you're brighter. It's this, it's the realization and the remembering for you, because you know this so well.
I do know this.
And that's the beauty of awakening, of unfolding, of becoming more authentic, is it doesn't mean we don't get trapped by the undertow of the wave and get taken under.
Yes, but totally.
When you come up and you're ready to see what is around you, you're remembering your authentic self. You're remembering, you're going back to the wisdom, to the teachings, and knowing that, if I just flow with it.
Yes.
You can't change the outcome potentially. You can't
Yep.
change others.
No.
It changes you.
Totally.
Your acceptance. So that acceptance piece is accepting the reality of what is actually happening without attaching a story, without making it something it's not. And it does not mean you're okay with it. Like, obviously, you would prefer not to have all these challenges right now.
Completely. They're just challenging, adversarial. There's adversity. There are people that are just butting right up against me and creating a wall in some ways,
Right. But it doesn't mean you're just say, you know what, screw it all. Do
No.
whatever you want to do, because you know what's best in this situation for you. So you can put your bed on the pillow at night and be okay with living your truth. So you now can make those conscious choices from more clarity, more alignment, and more peace within, because you're accepting what is.
Yes.
And without that resistance and the story and the shoulds, you can breathe again.
Totally. That's all I want to do is I want to take a deep breath and just blow it out. I think of two things. One, I love that you use the ocean analogy, because what I was basically doing, if there was a riptide current going on, and let's just call the last couple of months a riptide.
Yep.
What happens when you swim against the riptide? Or what do they tell you to do when you get caught in a riptide?
Flow with it.
Flow with it, right? If you try to swim against the riptide, you're going to most likely get exhausted, cramp, drown, whatever, right? They tell you not to try to fight it or swim against it. Beautiful. Nature's beautiful with teaching us, right? Always. Exactly. I was trying to swim against. So for example, I'll just share one quick example. I've been talking ad nauseum about my uncle. He's 92. And he doesn't want to lose his independence, and he is very resistant to getting hired help. And I was not accepting that. I was not accepting his, autonomy, his given right, his sovereignty. That's the word, his sovereignty to say, right now, because he's mentally with it. Even though he's 92, he's very sharp. He can get up from his chair. He can get to the bathroom. He can get to the kitchen. He can do those things. He's just very slow, not steady, blah, blah, blah. And would he benefit from having hired help? Absolutely. But he's saying no. So where I moved into the acceptance and the flow, instead of fighting that riptide current, which is him saying, no, 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 I'm good. Okay. Okay. It is what it is. It's your choice. I accept it. If he falls or something happens, he ends up back in the hospital. Then we take that step.
Right.
So that's what just allowed me to have more space around that.
Wow. That's huge.
And it is huge, because I was just getting so upset because he wasn't doing it my way.
Mm-hmm. And you were driven by fear with the what ifs.
I was totally driven by fear. What if he falls? What if he suffers? What if this? I don't want this to happen to him. And, the list went on. Mm-hmm. So I was completely driven by fear. And then when we have the fear, right? Dr. Shefali talks about all the time, fear or lack, anxiety, then control. So what was I trying to do? Control the outcome.
Right.
Okay, I did what I knew how to do best. Let me get on the phone. Let me call this one. But still, I did take action. Nonetheless, that was still good to take action as well. And I have all the information. Mm-hmm. Should he change his mind and decide, you know what, Kim, I really would like to have somebody come in and help. I've got it all laid out and ready.
See, so you're set. And
I'm set. There's the action steps.
And perhaps, we don't know what's going to happen. Perhaps now that you've released your energetic hold on him, he doesn't feel like a 2-year-old having to push back. You can't tell me what to do. I don't know. I'm just being hypothetical.
Yes.
But it may change the outcome, or he may realize and decide, oh, I want someone for a couple hours a day or whatever. And you're prepared, you're ready. And if something hopefully does not happen, that it you're ready. You're prepared.
I'm ready.
Taking those conscious action steps and know within you what you can do.
And I love that you just said that, because that's so key, right? You said, like, as soon as I moved into the space of working with the universe or swimming with the riptide, it doesn't mean always you get the outcome, but you do allow for more, for it to just organically and naturally just kind of, the energy shifts.
Right.
And it does kind of smooth itself out, and it does somewhat work into the way it's supposed to work out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my daughter with trying to find an apartment since February, she had so much energy tied up into, I have to control the outcome. I have to control the outcome. I have to get a roommate. And then finally, it just worked itself out. Like even the last 20 days, because we were supposed to sign the lease, I don't know, maybe like the beginning of May, I think. We just got the lease today, but she had so much angst energy about that. And it's just like, okay, let's just, be patient, just relax, be with it, and it'll work itself out.
And
acceptance.
It's hard.
It is hard.
Again, that whole acceptance doesn't mean you're passive and you don't make action steps, because, let's use that example. Let's say the lease isn't coming. You don't just sit there. You go, hey, you make a phone call.
I made many phone calls.
You take action, and then it's out of your control. But it doesn't mean you lay down and just, like you said at the beginning, be a doormat.
Right.
That is not honoring our sovereign selves either.
No, it's not.
It's, as we talked about Dr. Shefali's newest book, A Radical Awakening. And she talks about that, particularly for women. It's rising up into our power and speaking up and doing what needs to get done without resistance to the reality of it as is.
Oh my gosh. It's so simple, but yet very hard to do. So let's just acknowledge that for ourselves and for everyone else, because when you get caught in the riptide, the first thing is panic.
Right.
The first thing is panic, or any situation like that. And so that primitive brain, that fight, flight, just what do I have to do to survive? Because my safety, my survival is at stake here.
Right.
And even though doing all these things was not, my safety was not at hand, but it's a perceived threat.
I was going to say but it was safety to some extent. It just wasn't the mountain lion safety.
Right.
It was safety in that your world was getting rocked and rolled, and you were getting all these calls and all this pressure and the worry and the fear and anxiety. And so that's not a safe space. It's not the do or die safe space. It's still, your safety was taken away.
And what I've been learning,
because you were in resistance.
Exactly. And what I'm learning when there is that perceived threat and my primitive brain wants to take over is, and we've been talking about this recently too, is that my nervous system gets fired up and wired up.
Right.
So learning how to just breathe and have a soft body, that's become my mantra. When I feel my nervous system being aroused, then I just say soft body, so that I can be in presence with the arousal, and at the same time, like holding space by saying soft body.
Yes.
And that is also kind of moving into acceptance as well. It's another way of flowing with that riptide current.
And it's an important piece to bring up too, because we can stay so stuck in our mind and tell ourselves, just accept. It's not that simple. And our body is a part of it. Because if our body is not in acceptance or soft, or is in fight or flight physiologically,
that's so
it has
important
to work together. So I'm really glad you brought that up.
I almost wonder, since in the last few days that I've been doing that, if by doing soft body practice, by relaxing my body, has allowed me to sorry, YouTube viewers, playing with my pen. I just realized I was doing that. I wonder if the practice of doing soft body started creating space, and then all of a sudden the shift in my mind then took over of, oh, I wasn't in that tunnel vision anymore. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's knowing now that you've been doing that, so you were helping your body and your nervous system refine homeostasis and refine that place where your thinking brain can come back online.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
And so you're in more conscious thought. And so rather than having the old stories taking over, your nervous system quieted, homeostasis happens, frontal cortex comes into play, download happens, etc.
Download happens. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, so good.
And the way that I feel like now is back to how I felt back in the fall. And we were doing so much with body, mind, and spirit with our Balance Your Backpack course.
Yeah.
And you just said a minute ago, which I love that you brought it up, it was back to balance. I was like, by helping my body and calming my nervous system down, I was taking care of my body. Sometimes we think taking care of your body just means exercise or eating right or sleeping. Like that's part of it, but that's not all of it.
No, it's so much deeper. Oh my gosh, there's like 8 more episodes in this quick little hop
I know.
on.
So that's, you know what, that's good. We just hopped on now to just kind of lay it out there, give another little teaser, but we can continue to explore. There's so many layers and themes and everything else in this one little episode.
Definitely. And what I really love too about this episode being so, I mean, all of our episodes, let's be real, are impromptu. We don't ever plan what we're going to talk about till the day
we never do.
But how you literally just had this experience and this inner and outer alignment, and how just talking about it right away is so amazing, because you're on this like moment of this is why we do this work. This is why we do our podcast. This is why we talk about it and help others and help ourselves. And so what a beautiful gift you gave all of us today.
That was exciting. Thank you for saying that. And also what I do love about it is that we're not perfect. You and I don't have everything figured out. I just like went through something, and shared the process. So in real time. And that's the other beauty of doing this podcast, as far as I'm concerned, is that being vulnerable enough to show up and say, this is what you and I go through and what we deal with. And here's how, we work through it in real time. We're not coming on and pretending to be any kind of expert by any means.
And it's not bypassing, just because we've been on this path for your many, many, many years.
I know.
Does not mean it's over and done. And it's even more important as we continue, everybody, no matter where you're at, that you keep going and you don't run from the pain, and you use it as another opportunity for growth, and you don't sidestep it and try to pretend it's not there, because then you're not serving yourself.
Not at all. Not at all. Yes. Okay. So this was really fun and amazing to get on, and just so appreciate all of our listeners. We just have had so much support, and we just really thank you all for listening to our podcast.
We do. And we love getting little comments and messages. We really appreciate those.
Yeah. So like or subscribe. Yeah. If you haven't subscribed to YouTube, you can subscribe there and like us and comment if you would like. What's that?
See our goofiness,
yes, exactly.
The cat.
Hey, listen, it is what it is.
We love it. We love it. Exactly. Perfectly imperfect. That's
yes.
We can continue.
Yeah. If we didn't call our podcast Masks Off, we could call it Perfectly Imperfect. That would be another good name too.
Yeah. Maybe it's a tagline, another tagline.
Yes. You never know. Right. All right. Anyway, have a great.
Oh, and there's the Perfectly Imperfect. So Kim froze, and I will. Oh, you're back. You froze.
Oh.
So it
So
was more
sorry.
perfectly imperfect. So we'll
There you
just
go.
close it out before the internet decides we're done without us saying goodbye.
Have a good one, everybody.
Take care. Bye.